everyone. Welcome to Sober Vibes. I'm your host, Courtney Anderson. I'm a sober coach, author, and your go-to guide with living life without alcohol. I've been alcohol-free since 2012, and by far it's the best decision I've ever made in my life. Now I get to help other women live life without alcohol and thrive in sobriety. Here you're going to find quick sober tips, real talk, and encouragement to build confidence, handle cravings, and really actually enjoy your alcohol-free life. If you're sober curious, ready to go all in, hit subscribe and let's vibe sober together. Hey, welcome back to the Sober Vibes podcast. I am your host and sober coach, Courtney Anderson. You are listening to episode 246. I have an amazing guest this is the first episode of season 7 that I'm finally introducing a guest. And I wanted to introduce her to at this time because her second book is coming out. Melissa, I call you Missy. Melissa McKinney, welcome to the show. This is not your first rodeo, though, on the Sober Vibes podcast. You were on in the very, very, very beginning. I think you were like maybe the first or second guest.
Episode 5.
Episode 5. Okay, so I'm going to link episode 5 in the show notes below so you can listen to that one because that was a great one. So, Melissa, can you please tell us who you are?
Yes. Actually, I just listened to episode 5 again in the shower, like about a week ago.
It was a good one.
It was a good one. Yeah, and I noticed some things. I was like, oh, that was so cute that I said that. But now having like so much more like experience under my belt, I'm like, that was good in that space, but now I've grown a little bit more since that. So yeah, anyways. Hi everybody, my name is Melissa. I am currently now a licensed addictions counselor in the state of Arizona, associate level. Looking forward to gaining hours towards my independent licensure at some point. The next question that people usually ask is, what are you going to do with that? And my answer is, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm actually switching gears a little bit from being less clinical and more leadership right now. So that's kind of where my transition is headed. I am currently in a doctorate program in leadership to help kind of finesse my leadership style. I'm really interested in still staying to help clients, but I want to do it from a different table now. So be the person that can actually give answers to the questions. So.
Yeah, I think since I've met you, I think I've met you. I mean, I met you really early on, but I also think that I've known you throughout continuing to go to school. You've been in school like
forever.
At one point, yes. So I give you a lot of credit for doing that and to where you are currently right now.
Thank you. Yeah, I started in 2009. I took a little bit of a hiatus in the middle, but I've been associates, bachelor's, 2 masters now in the doctorate program. So I'm not going to say I'm going to quit after this because I really enjoy that paper afterwards and then just learning whatever I can about whatever's available. So I think continuing.
But do you like school?
Amazing. I do. Well, actually, no, I don't like school at all. I'm actually pretty terrible at it. I'm like probably one of the worst students there, but I do enjoy the challenge of it. And when I get those good grades, then it's just like, oh, okay, it makes it all worth it. Like I'm meant to be here. So,
right.
Yeah.
I love it. Because there are some people who love school. Like one of my sister-in-laws, she's like, if I could go back to school forever, I would. She's like, I just love learning. So there are people out there who just love learning, and that's why I had to ask you. So since our last talk 5 years ago, so you were at, let's see, because you just turned 13. So what, 13, 12, 11, 10,
right so before you were 7.
Okay, so right before 7. Okay. So what has changed? How has that been now being at 13 years? Is there anything like how you were saying like, oh, that was cute saying that in a mindset? Because it is a mindset. Like after every anniversary that you have in that year, it is a different mindset. So like what would you think that your mindset now is at 13 years sober? Because you are one of the only few guests that I've had on here who have had that long-term sobriety.
Oh, cool. So the things that I was saying were so cute was I think the last time I had just gotten into the behavioral health facility, like in that whole environment. And it was so green, and I was so like lovey-dovey with everybody, and we're all our own people and we get to choose our own things, which yes is true. But I'm finding out now it's a little bit more involved than that. Like you have to have your boundaries. I have had one mental breakdown since then in 2023 because I just overwhelmed myself completely with taking on too much responsibility, taking on too many clients, thinking that I was able to do it all, and you just can't. So that was a huge lesson learned.
No.
And I think it kind of did
And
bleed over
can I
into my
just
personal
interrupt
life
you?
as well. So
Let me,
yeah.
but everybody nowadays has having a mentee be, okay? As long as you didn't crash out on the internet, you're good. You good, girl.
Yes.
And recognizing
No. I had
that.
an amazing
Mentee bees
well,
are
and
welcome
a lot
here.
of stuff came from it because when I was there in that zone trying to figure out like what just happened, because it was a complete disconnect. Like I quit my job. I was getting ready to start a practicum in school, so it made sense to me at the time. I was trying to figure out like how do I process everything that just happened, so I turned to art. So I started drawing and started painting, and I actually now have my art in a local restaurant here being displayed. It's the second year that it's been there, and it goes on tour. So I've been at a second spot now, and it's in Scottsdale, which is kind of a hoity-toity little place. But I have 10 pieces out there, I think 10 to 14 pieces. So it was really worth it that time to like just collect, and I'd zone in for hours, like 14 hours a day. Would just be sitting there painting. And then, because that gave me like the space with myself to figure out like what the fuck just happened? Like, how did we get here? And I think I came out a much better person when it came to being introspective and listening to myself, which I found out is super important. So that's definitely something in my 13th year that differs from my 7th year is I'm really like, I check in with myself a lot. And I'm not going to do something that I don't want to do, even though that's what like the status quo is. So I found my own voice outside of things. I'm a big supporter of if you don't like it, fix it. Figure out what the problem is and why you're doing the things that you're doing, and then fix it because it's your world. Be selfish, figure your shit out, right?
Yeah.
I get tripped up every now and again with that because I am so that some things fall off my radar and I feel myself getting a little negative about things. And I have a mentor up in Idaho that I talked to. And just yesterday, she's like, why are you thinking it like this when it should be like this? And I'm like, oh shit. Yes, you're right. So another thing I've found out in 13 years is build yourself a great team that supports you, that you can be authentically yourself. That means that if you do crash out, they're not going to like judge you. They're not going to throw it in your face later. They're not going to weaponize anything that you say. I still have to be intentional with my words. I can't be mean-spirited. I'm not that way anyway. But I can't just say things that are mean because I'm in some kind of space and I'm dysregulated. But as long as you keep your integrity and with yourself and you have this team that supports you, you can go anywhere you want to with that kind of support. So in 13th years, weed out the people that don't matter. That's a really big thing. You're going to have a lot of people in your life that are there for seasons, either for you or for them. Are you their karma or are they your karma? Are you supposed to learn something from them or are they supposed to learn something from you? And some people aren't meant to be there past one chapter. That's okay. No. That's life. So kick them out and keep the ones that are meant to be around. Right now I have a solid 5 people in my life that I know I can go to about anything. And they have my back, non-judgmental, authentic, and recognize and accept me for who I am.
But don't you feel like where you're sitting now, that is enough for you?
No. I mean, yes, but no. Like, I feel like I can move mountains if I wanted to, as long as I keep my team together, right? As long as
but I'm saying don't you feel like where you're at today, like that 5 people, that's like enough for you to have around you?
Oh, definitely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. One was enough. I'm blessed and grateful to have more than one that understands. There's a couple things that go around or sayings that say, when you're authentically yourself, you attract your tribe. And I feel like that's kind of what happened. I allowed myself to figure out who I am so that I can be authentic to myself, prioritize what really matters to me, and then these people just kind of came out of the woodwork. So, it's been really amazing, and that they are definitely plenty.
Yes. And I do think that that comes into growth because when you first quit drinking, right? When you first quit drinking or using whatever drug of choice is, there's a very, very, you are like laser focused, especially for a lot of women because their friend circle is huge, where it's like, what are my friends going to think? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to start losing friends. It's all about the loss, loss, loss. But as you go through it and each year passes and you evolve and change as a person, where you once had 30 people around you at all times, now it's all of a sudden down to, let's just say, 5. And where you're like, this is all I need when it comes to this. You know what I mean? But like when
Yes.
you're in the beginning and the thick of it, you would never be like, oh, I heard on Courtney's podcast that like we're good with 5 people now. So
Yeah.
it's just one of those things where it is that growth and you see much more of relationships. It is such a quality over quantity.
Sure. Yeah. And it's
Hmm.
stressful when you have people in your life that aren't supposed to be there. Like I've
Yeah.
become in my 13th year, I've become very in tune with like the universe, right? So I'm
Yes.
not religious, but I am starting to get pretty spiritual in that I really feel like the universe has this path for me, and depending on my drive and my motivation, the universe is my best friend and will put me in places that I need to be in. This doesn't mean
Hmm.
that I just get to sit there and not do anything. I mean, I still have to
Right.
bust my ass and get there, but the universe is there to kind of open doors for me because of my drive and dedication. And I feel like the universe also got rid of a lot of static in my life. And sometimes I feel like I vibe, like I literally vibrate inside when there's people around me and I'm in situations where I'm not supposed to be or something's just janky. And then I'm looking to that as like that's the universe. That's something telling me that I need to remove myself from the situation. And it's been spot on every time. So yeah, there's a lot of like static that comes with too many people in your life that aren't all working for the same common goal.
Yeah. Have you been to Sedona? Do you go to
I
Sedona a
have
lot?
not. I really like. I'm the worst Arizonan ever. I haven't been anywhere. I haven't even seen the Grand Canyon.
Okay. Because so since you're getting into your universe era and the
Yeah,
spiritualness of that, I'm not kidding you. I need to fly out to Arizona and we go to Sedona for the weekend because
let's
that's
do it.
supposed to be like one of the most spiritual places in the, I don't know if the world, but in the
Hmm.
United States. There's supposed to be a very high vibration in that city. And good people of the world, if you've been to Sedona and you are into the spiritualness that we're talking about, please let me know. Slide into my DM and let me know if that is true. Okay, so but at 13 years, like we were kind of talking on the pre-show, and I appreciated you saying that where you were also too you wanted to get across, and you have, but just really understanding that even though it's been messy these last couple of years, right? Mentally, emotionally going through it, it still is more doable than if to you were previous to before of it's more doable without drugs and alcohol.
Yes, for sure. A misconception that I had of sobriety, well, just life in general. When I get there, it's going to be like I've walked into this amazing, beautiful, like sun-drenched beach and there's no problems, no cares, no anything. Like I can just live out my days completely stress-free and not have a thought in my mind. And then I started to think like that's not even you. Like even when you're in a good space, I'm always thinking of what's next. And I think that's the part of sobriety that's the motivator, the drive, the growth that I'm looking for. Like I'm never like I don't want to say never. Complacency is a spot right now in my life that I don't want to be in. I figure something out and then I figure out what do I like about this and then I progress onto something else. I rarely sit still. I like a lot of things going on at once, which is so different than before sobriety. I would freak out if I had like 2 things on my plate. Now I've got multiples. And I think I'm always going to be like that. And that's
Hmm.
100% okay. And it's
Hmm.
because I've realized that beforehand, I actually just thought of this morning. I've said many times before, I was running from reality, and that's why I was drinking. And I challenged that thought this morning. Is like, is that true? Is that really what you think? And I came to the conclusion of no, it's not. It's not true at all. I was never running from reality because I'm a very motivated, driven person, and I'm a Capricorn, so I do things like really hard and passionate, and I'm a hard worker. wasn't running from reality. I just didn't have any drive. I didn't have any motivation. I didn't have anybody around me that was going in a positive space that I wanted to be a part of. Everybody in that time was between 22 to 28 or 34. They're all in their party phase, right? So everybody my age was partying and doing the things, and alcohol was very available and very present. And so I was just kind of following that because ultimately I think I just wanted connection with somebody. And so the connection was at the bar. I was connecting in the wrong spaces because I didn't know that better was out there. I didn't know that I had the opportunity and the option to do whatever the fuck I wanted to do. I was just following everybody else around. So I think that was a big thing this morning to realize, like, stop saying that because that's not true. Like you've never been that type of person. So stop painting your child, your inner child, to be this like brat, because she wasn't.
Yeah.
She was very motivated and
Yeah.
very driven.
Right, exactly. And two, that's what it's like when you started partying young, okay, when the addiction came up, you know what I mean? Like how you were saying, because that was the same for me. It was like, yeah, there was problems before, but my drinking didn't start off as like, as soon as I drank, it was an issue. It progressed, but it was also too something where it was like, but that was also the time. So I do think there is a lot for reflecting back and looking through that, like it wasn't problematic from the beginning, and it became problematic because that was the way that alcohol is designed. It's a highly addictive substance, and the worst drug of them all, in my opinion, right? And then it was just like something almost that you fell into.
Right, yeah. Well, and my anxiety was a huge catalyst to all of it. So I started with weed, did the experimental drugs throughout, like, 18 to 20 when I was going to raves and all these things. And then landed on weed was really it until I got the DWI, right? Then I couldn't do that anymore because of UAs. So then alcohol became it. So readily available, in and out of your system. And then this sneaky little anxiety started happening. And I'm like, ooh, how am I going to fix this? And just out of conditioning, realized alcohol fixes my problem of anxiety for the minute. So then that was my one thing that I know I could go to because it was all over the place, socially accepted.
Yeah.
I could sneak in with other people and be self-medicating and nobody even knows what I'm doing. So yeah, it wasn't a problem in the beginning. And it wasn't a problem until like the anxiety got out of control and I started
Right.
drinking more, which is just this
Right.
vicious cycle. So something
Right,
just had to be
exactly.
done at that point.
Right, right. Yeah, very true. And something had to be done, and you did it. So
I did it.
you took care of business. All right, so you are going to share with us today, from your expertise and what you work with clients, of the four most important areas to focus on when starting in your recovery journey, when starting to get sober. So share with us those four tools. And two, I'm going to guess too, these tools are also going to be in your workbook.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Okay, so what's your number one?
So
I'm sorry, not the tools, the area to work in.
so this is kind of difficult to say because the people that I work with are straight out of it within a couple days
Yeah.
of sobriety, like maybe 1 or 2 days of sobriety when they finally come in. So a lot of the things that I talk about, people scoff at me and think like, yeah, right, because at 2 days recovery, these are really hard concepts to think about, right? But if you have somebody there on your team and you build a fellowship of people, you can get to this point very easily. But you do have to do that whole like surrender thing, which nobody wants to do, right? It's cliche.
Nobody.
I don't want to do that. It means I'm not strong. I'm not. Shut up.
Right.
It doesn't mean any of that.
Right.
It just means stop and listen. So I think self-awareness would be my first one. And my book is the workbook has a lot of self-awareness themes to it, ways to become more self-aware of who you are, and not necessarily just who you are now, but who you have been in the past. Like we are sponges of influence. So even from day one, everything that we know, everything that we do, everything that we say is an influence from somebody else, right? Or it's been something that they've either done that we liked or done that we didn't like. And so
Right.
we've kind of crafted ourselves into the people that we are based off all of these things. So, in theory, when you realize that something's not going right, roll the tape back. Like, what was it? Where did I first experience that? Why did I think that was a good idea? And realize that you have the opportunity right now to change it. Nothing is permanent. You don't have to be the same person that you've always been just because that's who you've always been, right? You can change it any given minute. So I think self-awareness is a big key. It's definitely something, a seed that I plant a lot. Sometimes it catches and sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
But I really think that you can't really move on with your life in a meaningful, authentic way if you don't know who you are.
I love that. What's your number 2?
Well, we'll go into authenticity, I guess, is the next one. So being able to realize that when you do figure out why you do the things that you do, it's okay if you still want to do it. That's fine. But just be authentic to yourself, right? Be able to be the person who doesn't follow the herd, unless that's, what your goal is at that time. But figure out really the who you are and the why you are and the what you are. And this really allows you a freedom to be able to express who you are naturally and authentically around the people around your team. And I say that because there are some people that you're going to be authentic around and they're not going to like you. Well, that's a good thing because they're not your people, right? They just did you a huge favor by letting you know, like, I don't need to be invited to be around you anymore and to take up your space. So I think authenticity is also super important.
Right. And I do have to say with the being authentic, this is something. So I know, like, when you were saying, like, people those first couple days are like, yeah. But the authenticity thing does come into play a lot down the road. Authenticity and alignment, all of that, because you will notice yourself too, where you'll be doing things where you're like, this feels like the old me. This doesn't feel like the new me of like the new alcohol-free Courtney that's like in her second year in, right? Like this kind of feels yuck. And that will come up more so, I do believe, a year down the road. I love it, but I'm just putting that on it.
Agreed.
But that is something that you will come back you will continue to come back to that one as the years go on and what feels best for you. Because even again, what worked for you on year 1 might not work for you or on year 3, whether that is with the type of help you've gotten or whatnot, just because you have evolved so much as a person. So.
To say something about that, another thing came up yesterday about that. Like, I've been going ever since year 10. I've been rewarding myself with a vacation to just go and like decompress and reset on my subiversary week. It's been amazing, and I've been going to the same spot for 3.
Costa Rica.
No, Puerto Vallarta.
Puerto Vallarta. Okay.
Yeah, so I go to the same hotel every time, and I've realized that used to be fine. That was great, all inclusive. Things were great, but this year I realized like, I'm not necessarily liking the vibe of that place now. And I think that's the growth. I'm looking for something a little less alcohol induced. Like, it was okay that they that they would offer you alcohol all the time before, but this year like really sat a little different with me. It's like, I just don't want to spend my time having to defend why I don't drink to people anymore. So maybe next year, I was talking to my mentor about it. She's like, maybe you just realize that you've elevated to a different kind of vacation that you want. You want to go to one that's more like a more all-inclusive, holy type thing where they offer you fruit juices in the morning, or you're not worried about having to defend yourself with alcohol. They're not offering you alcohol all the time, and if they do, they're not pressuring you to drink it. So so things do change from year to year, and it's really interesting what those things are, for sure.
Yeah. And expect, like, that's why I will always say that with help. Like, again, if you need something more or something different, more, whatever, less of, then you have to make that decision for yourself and not feel bad because you have outgrown a program, a therapist, a coach, any of that. Like, you need something different. I had a therapist at, what was it, year 3-ish? Great. Loved her. Sweet Vicky. I wanted to curl up on this lady's lap when I would never, but that's in my mind. I was like, oh, you're so sweet. I could just curl up. But like, when I then had to go back to therapy a couple of years ago, it's like, yeah, that bitch is not the one for me.
Mm-hmm.
because she would not fit my needs at that particular time of what I was searching for. And even though it is a pain in the ass to retell your story and all of that, but I knew I needed to find somebody else that specifically was at that time and what I needed. So like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and same thing, vacations, people, places, and things, they're going to shift. So what
Right.
is your number 3?
So number three kind of goes into what you were talking about with the authenticity thing. So number three is connection building. I think that's I think that makes it or breaks it with people. A lot of people will come out of a program and not have that team developed or not have a plan in place of going to AA meetings or whatever it is that they need to do. And they quickly slide back into a relapse because they don't have that connection built with anybody. So we as humans, we like to connection build. Whether there's a lot of people out there that say they don't, but they do. We do. Like historically, evolutionary, like we connection build, right? That's what we need to do. So that's important, and it links back to the authenticity thing that you're talking about. With it's also removing people. It is what who am I now, or who was I then, and who am I now? But it's also codependency, right? Like, so there's a time whenever I can't be authentic to myself because I'm maybe really involved in this idea of this other person or whatever it is. And when you start to look inward and the authenticity comes out, and the self-awareness, you start to realize, like, what was that even healthy? Like, what is that bond that we have there, and why is it there? And with the help of Google and a lot of other great resources, you do have an opportunity to ask the questions and kind of dig in a little bit more. So I think that's super important as well for the authenticity. And then it also helps with the connection building of these are things that I'm not going to look for in my future, right? Like, I know that I
Right.
struggle with this. I know that I'm really empathetic. I know that I care sometimes too much. So therefore, I need to develop a boundary that will help me with that. Boundaries are tough, but very necessary to help you get to like a healthier version. I heard one person say, a boundary is to protect you from me and to protect me from you. And I thought that's really kind of insightful, because a boundary is this is what I want in my life, and if I'm not going to get that, then this action happens. And that's the
Yeah.
part that we get tripped up on, is the action happening. So recognizing
Yeah.
who you are authentically, it makes it a little bit easier to then boundary set, which then helps with
Yes.
future connection building.
Yeah, and boundary setting, people get tripped up too because it's something that takes a long time with to be consistent,
It does.
especially with people, especially if you were a role for somebody in your life, your life and their lives, and you played that role for 30
Hmm.
years. It takes some practice to unfuck yourself
Yes.
and unfuck them.
Yeah. Right.
Like truly, in that of like how they, how, because then when you start putting boundaries up with people, it takes them a while to have to catch up to where you're at and to
Hmm.
respect the boundaries. So you can't get pissed off at people like because they're not respecting it with a day. You
Yeah.
got to give them some grace too of getting to know the new whoever you are. Like you
Hmm.
have to allow them to catch up. If they were doing it for more than 3 years and not respecting your boundaries, then we have a problem, right? Those first couple times, you just have to be like, okay, they are also learning who I am now
Hmm.
and not keep seeing me for who I was for them for 20 something years.
Right. Well, and with the authenticity and with the self awareness, I believe there's a little bit more of like an empathy that's developed. So that does
Hmm.
help with boundary setting too. And boundary setting doesn't have to be black or white. It doesn't have to be, you did this, you're gone from my life. It can just
Yes.
be, okay, when this happens, a discussion needs to happen afterwards. You
Yeah.
need to be available to me to have a discussion so we can then talk about whatever, or we can, whatever the situation is. There's no right or wrong for boundary setting, and there's no one way to do it. It's just, I think a lot of people get scared because they do put that very black and white on something, and then when the time comes, they don't want to get rid of that person, and that's understandable. So don't say that
Yeah.
that's your boundary. So your
Yeah.
boundary is something less.
Yeah, and it's up to you as the boundary setter to like take your balls out of your purse
Yes.
and be like, I'm going to have this conversation because for a long time and a lot of people, it's like just sweeping things under the rug and not discussing it. A lot of people will be like, well, I don't like confrontation. And it's like, well, you need to grow the F up. Like at
Yeah.
some point, you need to, if this person is worth having them in your life, there needs to be a discussion and a expression
Mhm.
because again, you're not people pleasing, but it's not fair just to do that to somebody without any type of discussion,
Of course,
truly.
yeah. Yeah. And I think people also use the word confrontation a lot when it's really it's just a discussion. And confrontation has
Yeah.
this like
Yeah.
negative connotation behind it. So I
Yeah.
try to say healthy confrontation because I think I am I'm a fan of confrontation because I think there's always on the other side of it is where you find a healthy space with whoever it is.
Yes.
A lot of times when you go to blows and you lock horns, that's when on the other side of that is when you're going to be able to clear the air and work from a new space. So,
Right.
but it doesn't have to be confrontational. It can literally just be a discussion. So maybe it's just we switch the words back to a discussion. If you're not
Right.
confrontational, my mom's not. So for her to use the word confrontation, like I'm sure that's anxiety ridden. So it's just a
Yes.
healthy discussion. It's just let's just talk. Let's chat about something. Let's get
Yes.
on the same page. Let's align.
Right. Right.
So
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, Iris doesn't like confrontation?
no,
Mm-mm.
she's getting a little
No.
bit better at it though. Like I have to give her credit for that. She's grown also with me side by side. So she's who I kind of experiment with some things with the boundary setting and whatnot. And then she's also learning from my example, I'd like to say.
It's,
She's been a little bit more open with accepting constructive criticism, but
mm,
also it's the delivery, right? The approach
yes. Yes.
matters.
Yes. It does.
So but we're learning together. So it's really
Yes.
nice to have her around to help me out.
That's I love it. I love it. All right, and number 4, what's your last area to
The
focus on?
the big one, accountability.
Woo!
So yeah, yes.
Accountability, folks.
So from day one, accountability. And accountability doesn't always look, it's not this like nasty thing. It's not this chore. It's just, dang, yeah, I did that. It's acceptance. It's non-judgmental, right? When you have accountability with yourself and you're really like diving in, non-judgmental. You can't judge yourself for the shit that you did in the past. You were a different person at that time and whatever you did served you in some way that you were looking for. So move
Yeah.
past it. It's okay to recognize what you did, but don't judge yourself for it. It happened. Good. Okay, now we know what that caused or what how that
Mhm.
felt inside, and now let's do something different the next time, right?
Mhm.
But being accountable for your actions. There's times that sometimes I feel like I'm over accountable, right? Like because I don't I don't like the stickiness. I don't like the messy. I will never blame anybody for anything that I've done. I've even now learned in my 13th year how to spend more time crafting and curating my sentences better so that I'm not assuming, I'm not giving the assumption that it's somebody else's responsibility for what I'm about to say. Like not like you made me mad. I'll dial that back and be like, okay, when this happened, what that did inside of me is it activated me to feel defensive. And then in that
Mm.
way, then I turned around and I then got a little angry with you. So I think that's a big testament to my accountability and my growth as a person.
And it being healthy.
Yes.
And to get too to like it's crazy because it's like when you once lived in such a toxic honestly when you once lived into such a toxic space of even how you reacted and placed blame on others and being like and placing blame for like your own addiction and then when you have grown and you're using if you're using words as okay, I feel
Yes. Yeah.
let me take this back so it's not projected onto you and like because that again is also true of you practice what you preach
Hmm.
and being super accountable for your own self and have that awareness that other people are in your space and being like okay how is this going to like let me have this come out and it's a healthy conversation and only I can express how I feel and how the situation impacted myself. So it's a lot of accountability and not placing blame.
Right. Well, and the people that are around me, like my team, I respect them. I adore them. The last thing I want to do is upset them. So when I get to my point where I've about had it with being outdoors, I need to go back to my space. I'll tell them like, hey, my people meter is about up. So I need to get to a space where I can either be by myself or just not where we're at right now. And being able to be self-aware enough to recognize like the cues inside my body that are like, this is, we're getting
Oh,
to a point. You're getting
yeah.
angsty and you're starting to like be a little sharp tongued. Recognizing those and then being able to be accountable enough in myself to say, I don't want to hurt your feelings. So, but I am feeling some kind of way right now. So I think it
Yeah.
all kind of goes together. And it's
Yeah.
basically, it's humanity rule number one. All you're doing is being true to who you are and communicating who you are and what you think to people. I don't know how it got so cloudy throughout time that we're using all these fancy words or we're skirting around the topic. Just say what's happening, but you have to
Yeah.
do it with an approach that's meaningful and let people know like I do care about you. I don't want to hurt your feelings. But this is really how I feel. Like what happened? Why is that so difficult sometimes?
I just because I don't conditioning
Yeah,
people's
the
life
times.
circumstances. Yeah, the times, the overcomplicating. I mean, you just even look at it now and it's like, dude, as human beings, we're not supposed to have this much take on this much information.
Hmm.
Like as a species, like that we are not supposed to be taking on looking at a phone, even though it's a blessing. I know it's a blessing for everybody. We're not supposed to be looking at a phone and watching trauma unfold in our on our eyes on a
Right.
daily basis. And like
Yes.
not just one trauma, we're talking about multiple traumas in a day and
Hmm.
then reliving it on a day-to-day basis. So I just think that as the world has progressed, it's made it way, way, way harder for people. And so tools,
Yeah.
coping, stuff we're not supposed to be seeing. But I love all four of those. And I think those are so important. And again, kind of what you said at the beginning, that if you are at like day one or day two, day three, if you're in those early couple weeks, that really consider what Melissa just said because and hear it because even if it doesn't help you right then and there, all four of these will progressively go along with you as each year passes. And they will mean something different as each year passes. But like those are the four core ones that I co-sign on it, girl. You did good. You
Like
did
literally,
good.
you did. You endorsed the book.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
really
yes.
co-signed
Oh, I
on it.
mean, it's a great one. I told you, you guys have to check out Melissa's workbook. I will put all of her information in the show notes below and how to get to it. But this workbook too, it's the first. Is it set? It's not. Just reframe my memory. It's not set as like the first 30 days. Just more of a 4-week program. Correct?
So yeah, it's a 4 week snapshot, but it's meant for people maybe a little bit more aware. Right there. A little bit more aware in their sobriety. I want to use the word stronger, but I don't know that that's necessarily the right word. Just I guess the people that are there doing it the right way. Like you and I both had that like aha moment and never looked back, right? And that was a
Mhm.
blessing and I wish we could
Yeah.
bottle that because we'd be
Yeah.
A millionaires and
Yeah.
B like there would be no more addiction,
Correct.
right? If you could just figure out a way to
Hmm.
get everybody at that moment. So it's kind of like getting to the point where you why you were doing it. You've worked away from
Hmm.
that, and now you're really just looking for, like, I want to make my life better. I want to live the best life possible. This kind of helps
Yeah.
with untangling those areas, which I have them right here. They
Well, and
are,
when I did read it, I have to say this is her workbook gives me its emotional sobriety. Truly. That's why
yeah.
and how it is. So like even if you're at day one and you want to dive into this or you're at year two, year three, like this really is, in my opinion, something for everybody that they can use at a time period in their sobriety.
I mean, it feels necessary,
Yeah,
the pieces of
it
it.
is.
Like, the topics are like exploring core beliefs and identities. So, there's your self
Yeah.
awareness, understanding your triggers and patterns. Again, self awareness. developing the emotional awareness and regulation. When you do get dysregulated, why, and how do you fix that? And then clarifying your values and your life purpose. So I feel like those are all great things that everybody, like, recovery doesn't have to be just from addiction. It can be just a recovery. Like, I want to be recovered. I want to join myself again, right? I want to get back to a better life where there's a lot of growth and self-discovery, like a holy version of myself.
Yes, right. All right. Well, thank you, my friend. Where can the good people of the world find you?
So I am currently, I think the link that's going to be on is going to be the link tree. That's the one I'm going to update the most. It's a lot of things going on. I'm a founder of an organization in Idaho right now, which I'm super proud about. We're serving first responders, tradesmen, and veterans, all the hardworking people out there, trying to provide them with wellness as well, because sometimes the harder populations, the one that work hard, they're sometimes the ones that need it the most and don't have the resources. So that's because that is evolving the way that it is. I'll probably just update on my link tree. The last book is on there as well, and when the workbook comes out, I will link that. It's probably going to be available Amazon, Barnes & Noble, like the first one. The first one is called Lessons Learned, and this one is called Real Talk, Self-Discovery, and Growth Workbook.
I love
it. Yeah, super excited. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. All those are on the link tree as well.
Well, and next time you'll probably be on a podcast. You'll still be in school for another.
For something else. Who knows?
Right. Right.
You never have too many.
Yes.
So.
No, you can't when it higher than your doctorate. So yes, I am very, very proud of you. And listen to episode 5. I will link it below. And Missy and I met through, I think we just met through Instagram and have stayed connected throughout all these years and supporters. And yeah, in the next year or two, I'm going to have to come out to Sedona and we're going to have to go vibe out in the most spiritual place.
I love that. Yeah, you've been an amazing ally. And I align with you nicely. I look up to you and I adore you. So I appreciate everything that you have and that you put out there. It's all super meaningful. I try to participate as much as I can, but it's like everything is just amazing. So continue to follow her, guys. She's doing amazing work out there.
Thank you. And so are you. All right, good people of the world. As always, thank you for listening. Keep on trucking and stay safe out there.
Bye.